Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Play Action Podcast presented by Warrior Student Media. I'm TJ Hawes, and joining me today is my incredible co-host, Caden Bunting. How are you doing today, Caden?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
I'm doing so great. I mean, this is the first episode of the week. Very excited. And instead of going over games like we have been for some time, we're switching it up here, and we're going to go over our mid-season award predictions. All right, so we got 7 awards here we're going to go over. We got MVP, Offensive Defensive Player, Offensive Defensive Rookie, Comeback Player of the Year, and then Coach of the Year to wrap it up. So, we're just going to name a couple players that we think can win the award and just, not go super in-depth because a lot of people kind of know who's winning, who's, projected to win awards, but these are just our specific takes on them. So, with that, we're going to start off with probably the award everyone looks forward to, and that's going to be MVP.
Most valuable player.
Who are you going to give it to?
So far this season, he just had kind of a rough week, but I still believe in him. Joshua Allen of the Buffalo Bills.
That's a good one. I mean, that's probably going to be my pick, but I'm gonna go a little different, just to keep things a little different here. I'll throw in the other guy I think can win, and it's pretty boring, but it's Patrick Mahomes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's got to be.
Can't deny greatness.
It's those two. Maybe I'll throw in Jalen Hurts, but even then, I don't know if I want to throw him in this conversation yet.
Mm-hmm.
But it's between Allen or Mahomes.
All right. Me. Would you like me to move on?
No, go a little into
what I like about Josh Allen.
Yeah, what makes you? I mean, I think it's pretty
What's
obvious.
Not to like about Josh Allen? Bills have looked really strong this season, and because of quarterback play from Josh Allen, consensus like the most talented team at the moment, like playing at their best.
Yeah.
And it starts at their quarterback. And Josh Allen produces in and out every week. Like I said, kind of a rough week, couple picks, but he's going to bounce back, and obviously, and I think he can continue this MVP campaign.
I mean, even with the 2 bad games, I think that kind of proves why he's MVP. Because if he plays bad, they lose. Mm-hmm. He's had 2 bad games this year. One was against Miami and one was against the Jets, and those are the only 2 games they've lost this year. So I agree, but Mahomes, again, obviously will forever be in this conversation year in, year out. And this offense has gotten worse since last year. Obviously, losing Tyreek Hill is a big part of that. But he still made it work with this receiving core. Guys like Juju. Like, Juju looks like a legit wide receiver 1. He hasn't in Pittsburgh a few years prior, but he's got him looking really good. Mecole Hardman, obviously, you got MVS, whatever. But I don't know, man. I think he's just putting up incredible numbers as always, and it's hard to count him out of this conversation.
Obviously, yeah.
So, I think we'll keep that one a little simple. There's not much to go into with MVP. It's just pretty much those 2 guys and no one else in my head. But we're gonna get into Offensive Player of the Year now, and I think this is more. There's more of a conversation for this. So I want to hear who you got first.
Well, you just said his name a couple seconds ago. I have to go Tyreek Hill.
Yeah,
he's putting up crazy receiving numbers. Some already like over 1,000 on the year.
Mm-hmm.
With how many? He's only got 3 touchdowns, but like he's putting up crazy numbers, and I don't think a lot of people are expecting like these amount of stats coming out of him with Tua, but Tua's played really good, and he's even Tyreek's had to play with their backups this season, and he's still producing. So I think he's, in my opinion, Offensive Player of the Year. I
mean, a guy who's projected to win or to get over 2,000 receiving yards on a season. I mean, that's hard to go against, Yeah. I mean, because you're right, that dude he's incredible. I'm going to throw in someone who is looking at the betting odds. Don't bet, but looking at the odds that they have right now. Tyreek Hill is first, and if you go to 7th on this list, you got one of my picks, and that's Nick Chubb. I mean, the Browns' offense has not been good, especially with guys like Jacoby Brissett starting.
I love Jacoby.
Yeah, but he's not a good starting quarterback.
That is true.
So this team has struggled this year by a lot. I mean, this defense has been bad, but it feels like the one bright spot you can look forward to every week is Nick Chubb. Mm-hmm. I mean, one of the best. I still think is the best running back in football, ahead of guys like Derrick Henry and every other good running back who's playing bad this year, like Jonathan Taylor and Najee Harris and stuff like that. But I don't know, man. I love Nick Chubb. I've loved him for a while. I mean, he's just such a hard-nosed running back. And again, he's putting up the little bit of consistent production that this offense has needed for some time. So it's hard for me to bet against him. But let's be honest, Tyreek is.
He's gonna win.
My actual vote would be Tyreek, but I need to talk about Nick Chubb just because I think he's important. I also want to mention Jalen Hurts is number 2 on this list that I'm looking at least.
Really?
Right, like he's plus 350.
Mm-hmm.
Tyreek Hill is plus 300. So
I can see like why he's up there.
The next highest is Justin Jefferson at plus 1100. So there's a decent drop or a margin between the two. But I would probably give it to Tyreek. So yeah, all right. Now let's get into defensive player of the year. Right. I think this one's a lot higher. This one's up in the air more too because I think some of these top like edge rushers who usually win it aren't doing great. There's one guy I think is obvious, but I think everything else is like, who knows who's gonna win it. So who do you got?
Micah Parsons.
Yeah, you know what? I'm not even gonna.
Dallas Cowboys linebacker. He's just an animal. It's ridiculous. Like he's so talented, so athletic. He's got 8 sacks on the year. Like he produces, and he is the rock of this entire Cowboys defense.
No, I mean he's the only reason they're good. I shouldn't say that, but he's one of the only reasons that they're really good. I mean, such a versatile weapon on the defensive line. He's minus 225 right now. Next highest is Nick Bosa at plus 900. Everyone knows Micah's going to win. He does everything you need from a defensive player. But there is someone else I want to mention, and that's Matt Judon of the Patriots right now. Mm-hmm. I mean, this dude is leading the league in sacks. I think he's at like 11 and a half on the season. He's been insane, and no one's really talking about him because you got guys like Micah Parsons who are performing at such a high level. You got Myles Garrett, who honestly isn't even doing – he isn't having a super incredible year like these other guys, but he's just such a household name at this point that he will always be thrown in there. Much like T.J. Watt would be if – he would probably be thrown in there no matter what, assuming he was fully – like he was playing all year. So –
from the Steelers fan.
Well, I'm just saying because he's a household name.
No, I'm joking.
Don't mess with me, man.
No, T.J. Watt. No, T.J. Watt would be top 5 in this list.
Like Aaron Donald is still in the top 8, and even then he has not been having some super crazy big season this year.
Not stat-wise at least.
But no, Matt Judon is just someone who is so fun to watch. He's always causing pressure off the edge.
Got those big red sleeves on.
Dude, I honestly love the sleeve look. Myles Garrett rocks it too.
People hate on the sleeves.
They get drug tested a lot for it. They've said.
Really?
Because it's like they're hiding. They think they could be hiding themselves. Like Myles Garrett put sleeves on once and then got drug tested the day after that game because he had a great performance.
Random drug test.
Random drug test. Okay. But no, I think this is going to be a fun award. Assuming I don't see Micah Parsons slowing down, but
no.
I think it could be very interesting to see who the finalists are, like who else they throw in this conversation, whether it be Judon, Myles Garrett, probably Aaron Donald will be tossed in there like he always is. But no, I think it's going to be a fun little award. I mean, I think these are the big ones. The big 3 are right out of the way. Those seem to be pretty obvious on where they're going as of now. But let's get into the Offensive Rookie of the Year awards because I think these are the Offensive and Defensive Rookies of the Year awards because I think these ones are a lot more of a toss-up for a lot of people. So I want to hear who you think should win. We'll go with Offensive Rookie of the Year first.
All right. I think it's a pretty close race so far between I have like 2 guys in mind who I think are at the pinnacle.
Yeah, I've got
currently.
3. I'm assuming you're naming 2 of them.
Yeah. So my top 2 are Dameon Pierce and Kenneth Walker.
Yep.
I don't know who I think can go over the top. I think Dameon Pierce is definitely more valuable to the Texans than I'd say Kenneth Walker is to the Seahawks.
Definitely.
So I think Dameon Pierce could make more of a case, but they're both so talented and having fantastic seasons, and they're both like producing so much running back for these struggling teams.
Yeah.
I mean, Seahawks aren't even struggling, but like
surprisingly,
yeah. But like teams you'd think would be struggling.
Yeah. I
want to throw out a third name. I know I said 2.
I'm assuming you're throwing out my third guy.
Chris Olave.
Yep. Yeah. Okay. So those were my 3.
Yeah. Chris Olave. He's putting up a fantastic year as well with the Saints. With a lot of Michael Thomas.
With him being out for the year now, I mean, I think Olave is going to make a strong push for winning this award. I want to throw out. Okay. This isn't a name that's going to win, obviously because of injury, but I think Breece Hall would have been the clear-cut number 1 for me if he was still playing. If he didn't tear his ACL, unfortunately.
Absolutely.
But I'll give my vote to Dameon Pierce right now. He was my one of my favorite running backs in the draft last year. And he was kind of my pick for like the day 3. Because I feel like every year there is a day 3 running back who just plays great. And my pick for that was Dameon Pierce this year. And he's been doing, obviously, he's second in the odds right now to win in Offensive Rookie of the Year. And I'm not going Kenneth Walker because although he's been a lot more flashy as a running back this year, he hasn't had the same amount, like the same time of production, right? Like Kenneth Walker was sitting behind Rashad Penny for most of the season so far until Penny got injured.
Yeah.
But Pierce kind of was sitting, but he was sitting behind. He was sitting down in the depth chart for like a week or two, and then pretty much took over the starting role right away. So he's had a lot more consistency in production. So I give Kenneth Walker some more time, and I can very much ease my way towards it. But right now it'd be Dameon Pierce. I could easily project Chris Olave to go all the way though and win it, just because of the situation he's in. You know, no receivers really there anymore that can be relied on, and both quarterbacks seem to love him. So, all right, now we'll get into Defensive Rookie of the Year. I think this is another toss-up. I already know who my pick is, and I know most people won't agree with it. So, I want to hear yours first because I think I know who you're going with.
You think you have
I have a different one than you. I know you did. I'm almost positive.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. I play cornerback when I play football. So those are some of my favorite players.
Very, very talented one at that.
Thank you.
Of course.
But
if I could pick, you would win this award.
Really?
I'm picking you.
Thank you.
You win Defensive Rookie of the Year.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Of course.
But my pick is Ahmad Sauce Gardner of the New York Jets. Now, you're disagreeing with this?
I'm not saying it's wrong, but there's just someone else I want to mention who I think should just be neck and neck with them. So, go into your reasoning for it. I mean, this is another obvious one.
He has been locked down.
Yeah.
All year. I saw sometimes a statistic, but he's always covering the wide receiver 1, and they're always shut down. It's incredible to watch. He didn't have some crazy stat. Like he never got a touchdown scored on him all through college, and he has yet to give up a touchdown. Yeah.
Or technically, he's given up one,
but still.
Like it wasn't his fault, but just because of the coverage they were running or whatever, it's technically on him. But whatever. Sure. He hasn't given up an earned touchdown.
Yeah.
All year.
I think he's incredible.
No, you're right. I mean, I think because if you're thinking of the other guy I'm thinking of, is he also a cornerback? Then yes, these two I think are top 5 cornerbacks in the NFL right now. Both of them, not just like rookies, obviously, every cornerback in the NFL. Both these two are top 5. The other one's Tariq Woolen. I've talked about him a few times. Whenever we talk about Seattle on here, I mention him because I love this dude so much. He went in the 5th round last year. I thought he was like a 2nd round talent. He played receiver, or he went into college as a receiver, then switched to corner. So he has that ball hawking ability with him, and he has, I believe, 4 or 5 picks on the year already. A lot of people were worried about how good he was going to be because he wasn't playing against a ton of talent.
At Cincinnati?
No. I'm talking about in the NFL.
Yeah.
Picking for that, right? So the big matchup was when they played Arizona, and he had to go up against D-Hop. And in 46 coverage snaps he had the entire game, he got targeted only 3 times, allowed 2 receptions for 4 yards, and had a pass defended on it. I mean, this dude is, again, another lockdown corner. If Sauce wins it, I'm okay with it. Don't get me wrong. I think he fully deserves it, and I think he should most definitely be number 1. But I think Tariq Woolen being
a dark horse.
Yeah, I think he's not being talked about enough as a great rookie corner. Just because of Sauce Gardner being up there as well. Yeah. So I understand it, but dude, Tariq Woolen is just so good. Seattle's rookie class has been so good this year.
Yeah.
Because we obviously talk about Kenneth Walker being one of the top 2 or 3 guys to win Offensive Rookie. Tariq Woolen is a top 2 guy to win Defensive Rookie of the Year. It's very impressive how well they've drafted, and I think that's why they're so good this year, if anything.
Well,
all right.
I can give you another reason why they're so good if we move on to the comeback player of the year.
You know what? Yeah. I like that. And I already know who you're going with. Is that who you're picking? Because that's who I'm picking.
The man who did not write back.
The man who did not write back. All right, so let's get into comeback player of the year. Yeah. That was the next award, right? So, who are you? Let me ask. Who are you picking?
I've gone with Geno Smith.
Yep.
Of the Seattle
Me too.
He's been going off this season. I'm so glad to see him finally like get to flourish and be a starter on a decent team.
Mm-hmm.
Like he has 15 touchdowns, 4 interceptions this year, and he's at like 2,000 some yards. Like he's playing out of his mind.
He's playing like a top 10 quarterback.
Yeah,
and I'm willing to say that.
It's crazy. I don't think anybody could have predicted this type of production out of Geno Smith. Like he was just kind of like the lovable backup, for
Mhm.
Russell Wilson. But he's turned it on, and I'm loving it.
Yeah, I've been saying like with these past like the rookie awards we were just talking about. I was saying how some of the guys who were leading were guys I was a big fan of. Right, like I'm not gonna brag about it. Right, it's not what I'm trying to do. So I'll humble myself here.
Okay.
I thought Drew Lock should have been the starter, like early on.
Oh yeah.
Right.
I think anybody would say that.
So I'm not going to sit here and say like, oh yeah, I knew Geno was going to be good. Like no, he is outperforming every single person's expectations, no matter what they say. Right? There, you could be. I will. If anyone were to say that they expected Geno to be good this year, I'd laugh at your face and call you a liar. Like I don't like it's. I would have my vote was McCaffrey at the beginning of the year.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it's got to be Geno for me.
Yeah, he's been playing ridiculous.
I'm also throwing in Saquon though. Saquon,
Yeah.
It's two different situations because you can win comeback player of the year if you like weren't playing, right? It's usually like if you didn't play the year before and you come in and start playing really well.
Mm-hmm.
There are some situations where like players who just aren't good,
Yeah.
like were really bad last year, could win it this year. Like Phillip Rivers did that one year where he like sucked, and then the next year he played great and won comeback player of the year.
Yeah.
But I also want to mention one more name.
I'd love to hear it.
He's not super high in the odds right now, and I get why. And I just think he'll make a late season push, and that's Travis Etienne.
Mm.
I just think with James Robinson being traded and Etienne getting the full like number one running back role, I think he will make a late season push to win this award.
I could see that.
I think it'll be like Geno, Saquon, McCaffrey, and Etienne.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not McCaffrey. I'll even take him out and throw Etienne in there. There's just a few guys that, I mean, will probably win, but it better go to Geno.
Yeah.
If it doesn't go to Geno, I think I'll be upset.
Yeah.
I'll actually be upset. But all right, now we're gonna get into our last award pick, and that's Coach of the Year.
Mm-hmm.
I got a few guys for this one, but I think number one might be pretty simple for some people.
Really?
I want to hear if you.
Okay. So I've been thinking about this. There's a couple guys, a few guys you could put up top there, but I think you have to give it to Brian Dabble.
Yep.
New York Giants. No one expected the New York Giants to do anything this season, and they look pretty good to start the year here. And Dabble is a first time head coach after being with the Bills last season, right? Bills.
Yes. Wait, no. Yeah.
The Bills last season.
You're right. He was their offensive coordinator.
Yeah, he got hired by the Giants, and they really outperformed anyone's expectations. And I think you got to give a lot of credit to what Mr. Bryan has been doing.
No, that's definitely a great pick. I'm not going to sit here and say that happens. You're wrong.
But there are other guys. I'll leave it at that.
The beginning of the year when they were like winning a ton, like they were winning more. Obviously, I mean they're still winning now. They're 6-2, I think, on the season, which is extremely impressive for the roster they have. So of course I'm going to give them that credit, and I can easily see them winning because of that, and especially how little talent overall there is on that roster. But like Nick Sirianni, dude, it's hard for me to pick against him when they're undefeated right now. You know what I'm saying? But then again, that roster is way more talent than the Giants do. So that's why I'm still that's why I think like Dable is still a good pick because, and probably my favorite still. My pick at the beginning of the year, and that's just someone who I still think deserves it, is Kevin O'Connell for the Vikings.
Yeah.
They've lost one game to Sirianni's Eagles, but they've been playing great football week in, week out. Again, another roster that isn't super talented, but obviously still has a bunch of good players like Dalvin Cook, Kirk Cousins, Jefferson, of course.
Yeah. And now T.J. Hockenson.
And now Hockenson on that defense. That's right. I completely forgot about that actually. But no, I think those are the top three in the betting odds. But I mean, I'm not going to sit here and pick like crazy under the radar guys because it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
The only other name I'd consider throwing in is Robert Saleh of the Jets, just because Zach Wilson has sucked. Receiving has been very inconsistent. Defense has been outside of Sauce Gardner, who we talked about earlier. There hasn't been a ton of consistency, but I don't know. I think this is kind of the biggest toss-up right now because there's a bunch of different reasons why each of these guys can win. But I like your pick of Dable. I think that's probably the most picked one right now. But yeah, that's gonna do it for this episode. Going over our midseason award predictions. I'll tell you what. Actually, you know what? I wanna. Did you make predictions at the beginning of the year? By chance?
No, I didn't know I was doing this podcast.
No, well, I'm not saying for this. I'm saying just, did you ever have any?
Oh, I
made?
Probably an MVP to Josh Allen, but anything other than that, I don't think so.
All right, hold on. I am gonna find mine. Just because.
Well, defensive rookie of the year. I thought
Yeah, here you go.
Jaquan Brisker.
I want. You said Brisker.
I'm a Bears fan. I gotta run my guy.
I just want to go over mine real quick because it's funny to see how they turned out right now. MVP was Herbert. Probably won't happen right now.
Yeah.
Offensive Player of the Year, Justin Jefferson. Probably won't happen right now. Defensive Player of the Year, Shaq Leonard. Has yet to play a game this year.
Really? He hasn't played?
Yeah, he's played a game or two, but he's been injured all season.
Really?
With I don't even know what injuries he's had. But just in case no one knows,
he's played 3.
Talking about Darius Leonard.
Yeah.
Changed his name. He's going by a different name now.
By Shaquille now.
Yeah. So Shaq Leonard, he just hasn't played a ton. Obviously, like you said, I guess he's played the past 3 games, but I barely even heard his name this year, which sucks.
11 tackles on the year.
It's just not his season because of injuries. Offensive rookie year was Jahan Dotson, which the first week
you're hot on.
I love Dotson. Loved him coming out of college. He had a great first game, first 2 games, and just has kind of died down since. Quay Walker was my defensive rookie of the year. He has played very bad this year. I just like how he fit with Green Bay. Comeback player of the year was McCaffrey, which I think isn't a bad pick.
Yeah.
And then coach of the year was Kevin O'Connell. So I think those last 2 kind of hit in a way. They're up there.
Yeah.
Everyone else just kind of died for me. So it's pretty. I don't know. It's whatever, I guess. But I don't know. Yeah. Okay. Now that's actually gonna do it. I just thought it'd be interesting to go over those because I forgot who I picked for those. But now, you want to add any last final thoughts real quick before we wrap this up?
I know I said Josh Allen, but for MVP, but Justin Fields is looking pretty good these last.
Okay, you know what? We're gonna cut it off there because Kenny Pickett's gonna win instead of him. So whatever. But no, that's gonna do it for this episode of the Play Action Podcast, presented by Warrior Student Media. I'm TJ Oz. He's Caden Bunting, and we'll see you in the next one.